Happy Friday morning and welcome. Woo, there we go, to another live episode of Mornings with the Outlaw here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I'm coming to you live from the heart of Beverly Hills here in the Outlaw Nation studios, and I'm joined once again by the lady from St. Louis over there, Alex Shashek. She is glowing off a victory last night. On action. Can we reveal it? Is it a spoiler to reveal it?
No, it's totally not a spoiler.
Okay, please,
all you
ahead.
guys need to know is that I'm successful in every single thing I do. And I'm amazing in every single way. So that's the real big takeaway, you know. That's why I just want you guys to know. I'm pretty flippin' spectacular.
Wow, you kids nowadays, you just got all this love for yourselves. I respect it. I like it. No loss of self-confidence. That's incredible. But so much, and of course, you guys can. That debate's up there on the YouTube channel, right? Or is it only for the patrons? Yeah,
no, it's available. So the debate was pretty much every other week. They do a debate on a general's debate on whatever may be, whatever topic. One of them was presidential speeches in a movie. Another one was like last night we argued what is the best movie trilogy, and you know, a lot of really great trilogies are out there, including Lord of the Rings. Any of the Star Wars is definitely in consideration, but at the end of the day, I beat him with the Before trilogy by Richard Linklater.
You were telling me that this morning, and I couldn't believe it. I'm just like, well, who is arguing the other side of things? How do you lose arguing the original trilogy? But that just speaks to Alex's skills, that she was able to navigate all that and get the victory for herself. Pretty incredible.
Notes, backwards and forwards notes. That's how.
Oh, wow. Okay. Uh-oh. Am I still on? Uh-oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Totally
my
on.
computer seems to have frozen, so let me see but I'll just screw it. If you can see me, then I guess we're fine. I don't know what's happened here with the computer myself personally, but if you can see me, then let's just keep going. Although I won't be able to. You know what? Why don't you hold on for just a second, Alex, and I'll be right back. I don't know why it's just to entertain the fans or whatever. I'm going to see what's happening here.
Okay, I'm just gonna like dance around for a little bit. Hey, Alan, you argued in favor of the original Star Wars trilogy. What's up? We haven't really talked all that much, so it's pretty cool to hang out with you last night. I'm kind of curious. Okay, so you guys, I'm in the process of trying to make a list of like movies that I want to see before the end of June. And I'm like thinking of really great movies to get me in the mood for summer, some of them are classic movies or whatever it might be that I just haven't got around to. So I kind of want to know what movies are that you guys are very classic summer movies that I should watch. And because like I said, there's a bunch of classic movies I have not seen. So please let me know in the chat and I'll see if I can acknowledge if I even know them or not know them, and see what I can do to get watching them. Okay, yes, watch Bill and Ted. That's fair. Okay, I'm making note of that. Okay, Travis, I see you. I see what you're doing there. So, okay, Bill and Ted, totally. 1, 2, and to emotionally prepare for the third one because Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves. I mean, come on. Wet Hot American Summer. Okay, so I saw the one on Netflix. It's not a remake, or is it a sequel? I'm not entirely sure, but I saw that one, and Christopher Leone, he is so funny. Let me just say, he's like dry humps a fridge at one point, and I'm so here for it. Fritz the Cat. I have not heard of that. Is that like an animated movie? Is it not? I don't know. Lethal Weapon. I have not seen any of the Lethal Weapon franchise, so making note of that. Lethal Weapon franchise. Any of them. Oh, I've never seen any of the Beverly Hills Cops movie. Are you noticing there's a trend of like not late 90s? late 80s, early 90s movies that I have not seen. Is kind of sad, really. I know. Weekend at Bernie's? What the heck is Weekend at Bernie's? I don't know.
What happened?
What? I don't know. What?
Now I'm blowing out like crazy. Let me fix that real quick. Sorry, gang. For whatever reason, my computer froze a little bit, so I'm back now. And please, Sean Barreto, if you're watching this, I'm gonna have a big complaint with Apple now. This is the newest computer, and it keeps running too hot. It keeps freezing on me. I'm gonna have some complaints to lodge here. Anyway, thank you, Alex, for entertaining. I don't know what you did, but I appreciate it. Thanks for keeping them entertained and everything that's going on in the world.
Well, these fine people are just giving me movies to watch because I was mentioning there's a bunch of trilogies and movies. I've never seen any of the Lethal Weapon or Beverly Hills Cop movies, and
oh my god!
So they were just
happening?
I asked for really great classic summer movies. I should watch before the end of June, so to get really warmed up for July and so forth.
Yeah, that makes sense. I always forget you're still catching up on a lot of things. Because you assume people are in the sphere, they've seen a lot of things, but there's always, it seems like you've got a lot of stuff you enjoy catching up on.
Yeah, and it's really too easy to put on some of my comfort movies that are always like Studio Ghibli movies. So easy to watch Now My Neighbor Totoro for the 50th time, Like, who doesn't want to watch Kiki's Delivery Service or Princess Mononoke? I mean,
fair point. So all of those available on Disney Plus too, so you can go and enjoy those. I went in on not Disney Plus, sorry, on HBO Max. I went on a deep dive on HBO Max the other day. I think I was a bit harsh in my initial criticism of HBO Max when it first rolled out. As you go deeper into the library, you're kind of shocked at the level of films that are available, and especially if you're a Criterion person, there is a lot of samurai movies. They have their classic great samurai movies that you can enjoy, not just Kurosawa stuff. There's a number of other samurai movies there, and some great Japanese cinema and foreign cinema there in the Criterion side of things, and the Studio Ghibli, like you said, a lot of stuff there as well. So there's more to explore than you think, and all the classic Looney Tunes ones are on there for you to enjoy if you need those in the morning. Anyway, but that's not what we're talking about here today. What we're talking about is a bunch of stuff today from the world of entertainment. We should just get going since I had to jump off here and had an issue with my computer. So let's just jump into our first story. And our first story is, of course, that trailer for Spider-Man Miles Morales on the PS5. Lord, this has just burned up the internet in so many ways. And it's incredible because it was initially pitched or seen as this sequel to 2018's PS4 Spider-Man. But Miles Morales appeared in that game as a playable character, but it wasn't until the end of the game when the character was bit by a radioactive spider, which set up this sequel. They didn't show the trailer was pretty incredible. We can't show video of the trailer, obviously, because we don't have the permission to do that, but you should definitely watch the trailer. It's about a minute and a half. It didn't show off too much of the gameplay, but you did see some of his new abilities, like his electric venom blast, the stealth camouflaging, and then changing weather and daylight cycles. And this was used by the Spider-Man PS4 game, was used repeatedly to kind of pitch how quickly the PS5 was going to work and how beautiful it was going to look. And they said actually to kind of follow up after this announcement was made during their PS5 gameplay event. They spoke about Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I'm going to leave that graphic up real quick to let you see or hear what he said. This gentleman here, Sony clarified that Spider-Man Miles Morales is not a sequel. So as I said at the beginning here, it was initially thought to be a sequel, but it is being pitched as an expansion and an enhancement. Sony's VP head of European business, Simon Rudder, told The Telegraph, I guess you could call it an expansion and enhancement to the previous game. There's a substantial Miles Morales component, which is the expansion element, but also within the game as well, there's been major enhancements to the game and the game engine, obviously deploying some of the major PlayStation 5 technology and features. So essentially, it's almost, Alex, a glorified DLC game, which is kind of shocking to a lot of people who are hoping for something more or something more from this announcement, that it would be a completely new game and on its own. But that is not the way it's being looked at by Sony, and how they're going to roll it out in the holiday season. You watched this trailer. Did this blow you away and make you want to play this game immediately, or this DLC immediately?
To say how much I enjoyed this trailer. It's very much putting it mildly. I love the Spider-Man game for PS4. I think it's amazing. It was so much fun. I especially love the villains. I love the special effects. I know they dedicated an obscene amount of hours in order to really perfect, I mean, everything from the skin. I mean, the lighting is spectacular. So watching this trailer, going into this trailer, I had really high expectations. It has already, it's one of my favorite games of all time. I mean, it's considered one of the, if not the best game from last year. And, even by a bunch of reviewers and a lot of, fellow gamers out there. So seeing this, I was very surprised. It is not considered a technical sequel.
Right.
At the same time, I'm just so happy we get more of this world. I'm just ecstatic.
Yeah.
Are you a big gamer?
No, I'm not a big gamer necessarily, but certain games like this I absolutely enjoy. My friend Yuri Lowenthal is the voice of Spider-Man / Peter Parker in that game, that Insomniac game that's such a big deal. Yeah, well, I mean, he's my boy, and so we've hosted a couple of shows, podcasts together, and so we're good friends, and seeing him be a part of this universe was so incredible to witness. It's always nice when one of your friends who's actually a good person gets something really great, and you just want to cheer them on from the sidelines. I was hearing that this is a DLC. That makes it very interesting to me, because is he going to return? Because we hear him in the trailer as Peter Parker, saying this to Miles Morales that your father was right, go and be a hero. But I wonder how much we're going to see of Peter Parker in this DLC version with Miles Morales. Some people comparing it to Uncharted, the Lost Territory, Lost Legacy, something like that. That's also a DLC type of thing. So,
even Horizon Zero Dawn. Oh,
yeah, sure.
Love that game.
And Miles Morales is voiced by Najee Jeter, so we will see if he will come back if that was his voice in Miles Morales. They didn't mention it anywhere I saw.
It sounded like him.
So it did. Yeah, it did actually sound like him. So that's exciting on so many levels. But the PS5, they didn't announce how much it was going to be cost. I was ready to pre-order one, but they didn't announce how much it was going to go. A lot of people are speculating about $450 to $500 is what it's going to go for. And they didn't get, like, a lot of the games they showcased didn't get that strong of a reaction as much as Miles Morales did. So a little bit of a slightly underwhelming showcase for the PS5, but I think everybody's on board who wants to get one of these, or maybe some people who are kind of hesitating. I think this is a great way to convince you. The graphics here were phenomenal. The look of it, the feel of it. So it certainly excited me. I know I'm probably going to trade my Xbox One X in to get a discount so I can get it the PS5 from GameStop. I tried the Xbox for a year. It's just not my jam. I like the PS4 and the PS5. I imagine controller a lot better than I do the bulky Xbox One controller. It just doesn't do it for me. So I look forward to making the switch when that time comes. A lot of great games are included here. Let's see if I've got the list, if I put it in my notes. Yeah, they revealed trailers for Grand Theft Auto 5, Gran Turismo 7, Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart, Project Athea, Stray, Returnal, Sackboy: A Big Adventure, Destruction All-Stars, Kena Bridge of Spirits, Goodbye Volcano High, Oddworld Soulstorm, Ghostwire Tokyo, Jet the Far Shore, Godfall, Solar Ash, Hitman 3. A lot of people were talking about Hitman 3 as well. Astros Playroom, Little Devil Inside, NBA 2K21, yes, Bugsnax, Demon Souls, Deathloop, Resident Evil 8, Village, Pragmata, and Horizon Forbidden West. So a lot of games to catch up on. It's a good thing I started a Twitch channel to act the fool as I play these games. So I'm incredibly excited. How much of a gamer are you, Alex? How much are you into these games?
I'm not a huge gamer. Growing up, I was obsessive with my N64. To put it mildly, again, I was obsessive. But it was obscene. It really was how I was in grade school about it. But at the same time, I haven't played games all that much at all, to be honest. I play games here and there. I'm just starting to get back into gaming a little bit because my husband, he's just it's kind of become like a bonding thing for us. We just started playing some games together, just for fun. And so we're doing that. But I love watching him play games. Like I would be like, hey, can you play that game again? Hey, can you do this? Hey, can you play that? You know, just because I genuinely love watching these games. Like I remember watching him play Red Dead Redemption for the first time, and I was like, because the story behind a lot of these newer games is definitely on a higher caliber. It's like watching a movie, and you know, it's really cool. You know, the effects are, like you mentioned, they are pretty amazing. Not to mention the story is great, the character development is great, and so I definitely have I think as gamers or just fans in general, we definitely have a higher expectation as far as what to expect from these games. Not considering how expensive they are. I mean, like, I better get a lot of good worth from it, you know?
Yeah. $60, $60 to $75 a game. And if you get the, you know, the souped up one, they're $100 a game. So, you know, it's not. Oh yeah. Fair enough.
We have the Spider-Man one.
Oh, right. Yeah. A really good game. Absolutely.
We even have the vinyl.
Wow.
Like the Spider-Man vinyl. Yeah.
Wow. That's deep. That's deep. But yeah, they didn't, it'll be out this holiday season. They didn't say specifically when. So you imagine obviously around Christmas for people to buy these things. So, but I wish they'd announce the pre-orders, because a lot of us are going to want to get those things immediately and want to put our name in. I've signed up for every possible mailing list. I think it's all, you know, GameStop, Best Buy, and Target has where you can submit your email and they will email you the second it's available for pre-order. So I try to put my email on everything to see if I can get a shot at this thing. Hopefully get it by Christmas. Well,
fingers crossed. These take forever. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But I know going into this one, there was a lot of question of the design aspect of the PS5.
Yeah.
And like, there's like a bunch of memes that popped up about comparing it to Mordor, like
yeah,
the eye and everything as well. And so the aesthetic is definitely not my cup of tea, but you know, we're not buying it because it looks cool or not cool.
I didn't mind the look. I like the white look and the white and gray, kind of muted gray look. I dig it. I think it's a way to stand out from the PS4s that have come before. And it looks like almost like one of those old school Mac towers or PC towers even that you used to get way back when. So I like that vibe of it. And it's convenient to just stand straight up and do its thing. So I'm a fan of it. I like it a lot better. You know, I'm down. I like a little difference in color.
Yeah. Keyword old. But yes, I agree. Absolutely with everything you're saying.
Yeah. What's old is new again all the time. I see women wearing shoulder pads again. So I don't want to hear it. What's old is new again always. I do want to do a quick thing just to let you all know. Please, we've got the Streamlabs. We got super chats. Send them in today on this lovely Friday. Tell us your comments. Let us know what you're feeling, what you're thinking about the world, what you want us to talk about, what you want us to get into, maybe even suggestions for films for Alex to watch to catch up on here in the summer as we jump into July. I mean, we're only 2 weeks away from July. Then it'll be December, and then it'll be 2021 before we know it, for God's sakes. And Alex will be another year older. Here, let's see here. We got Tim Sim saying, just here to get the typical PC gaming is still superior out of the way. All right, Tim, I respect that. Yeah, a lot of people do enjoy PC gaming more. Certainly, I had a lot of fun playing on my PC way back when. The graphics were always better than any of the consoles, but you don't have the controller. And so sometimes it can get annoying to play the PC, hitting the buttons and all of that. I guess it's something you just get used to. Right. It gets annoying, doesn't it? I feel like it gets annoying. Yeah,
it is. And you have to have like the right equipment in order to play using your desktop.
Yes.
You know, like I had to buy a whole new mouse when I started gaming again. And because my mouse was just like, it's not a great mouse, but I mean, it's a working mouse.
Yeah.
You know, but I had to buy a whole new mouse. Lucas had to give me a whole new keyboard. Now I have one that lights up. Fancy.
All the frills. You got to respect that.
So
we got some Streamlabs going through here. Andrew G donated. He said, I might miss the Patreon hangout tonight. Thank you, Andrew G, for letting me know. To ask, but did you too see the Chappelle special that just dropped on Netflix? YouTube, he talks about the stuff going on these days, and it's pretty cool to hear his take for sure. Have a great weekend, guys. Yes, I saw it last night before I went to bed. It was 11. It dropped around 11 o'clock, I think, last night, and I watched it's half an hour. So watched it in bed before we fell asleep, and it was very funny, poignant, moving, rough, but very funny. So I mean, it's brilliant, and you can tell he's working out the set. So it's a kind of a window into Chappelle as a stand-up, how he's building his set. And apparently he's been doing this around Dayton for the last few days. This set was recorded on June 6th. And it had been 87 days since he'd been up on a stage. So, and it's titled 8 minutes and 46 seconds to reflect the amount of time that that cop's knee was on George Floyd's neck. So did you get a chance to watch this one yet, Alex?
No, this is the first time hearing of it. I'm
okay.
startled. I haven't heard of it. So I'm pretty excited. After this, I am definitely going to go watch it.
Yeah, it's a tight 27 minutes in and out, and it's good stuff. So I highly recommend it for people to watch that for sure. Let's see. Our next one comes from D Train. Said, saw the action industry show last night. And it was good, but I would have argued for Lord of the Rings, Caesar's Planet of the Apes, and Toy Story. The Toy Story trilogy might be the most perfect trilogy of all time. D-Train, it's not a trilogy. They made a fourth one. Sorry, you can't pick and choose.
It's definitely great. We were also told when we were told about that whole thing, we were told to think off the beaten path as far as trilogies.
Yeah.
I actually initially was going to put Lord of the Rings trilogy, the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, as my number one. Yeah. But I was already told several other people already listed it. So I was like, well, I won't be picked if I choose that one. So
okay.
I chose the Before trilogy. I chose the Evil Dead trilogy. I'm obsessed with Army of Darkness. It's so good. It's amazing. It's so bad and wonderful. That one, and my last one was arguably, it's not arguably, it definitely isn't a trilogy, but I also argued in favor of Alien 1 through 3 as like the best trilogy.
But they can't be, listen, people, they cannot be trilogies if there are other ones after it.
I understand it would have been an argument against me. I acknowledge that, but good thing I didn't have to argue that one.
It's true. And
so I had to do one that literally no one saw.
Maybe. Hey, it was smart because you won. So you got to give you props on that. Let's see. D-Train follows up again and says, I'm so happy Alex mentioned Red Dead Redemption. I'm hoping she's talking about the second game, but I would like to know what's her favorite character besides the main character. For me, it's Sadie Adler. Do you play this? Do you know the character as well?
It has been a minute, but I do remember loving Sadie. But yeah, I can't. I feel bad. I can't remember a lot of the names off the top of my head. I can recognize like the pictures and characters and whatever they're wearing, but I can't remember the names. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I've still yet to play it, but I will be playing it soon, very soon. Christian Alante donated as well and said, I think the Miles Morales expansion is meant to give Miles his own respectful story so that when the eventual sequel comes, both characters will be playable for a new groundbreaking game. Personally, I hope in this game we get access to Brooklyn areas. Yeah, well, you probably will. And that's actually a great point, Christian. I'm sure that's the way they're going for sure. So, definitely. Any thoughts on that one, Alex?
Yeah, totally agree. It's one of those things that I feel like the movie, it's not a movie. I keep forgetting that. It's technically not a movie. Yeah. Visually speaking, it's so expansive in the way they're really kind of able to dive in deep into, Manhattan and, New York City in general. So it just how well each building, and it's like I remember they had a bunch of designers. They were told to go live in New York City and just take pictures the entire time, using drones and everything for a few months just to make sure that they get the architecture and the lighting right. No matter where they went for the game. So I'm really curious to see how it's going to play out, especially, being in Brooklyn. It is, it's a great neighborhood now. I'm kind of curious about, how a game's might focus on, not so, great areas, things like that. Because obviously if we're going to talk about Brooklyn, we might talk about Queens or, Greenwich Village, all that good stuff. So I'm kind of curious, if it's going to translate, because as far as I remember in Spider-Man focusing on the really nice areas, essentially, but like any city, any good city, it's going to have good areas and bad areas. That's what it is.
Absolutely. Christian Alante donated again and said, by the way, John, are you and Snyder going to come back to the Lights, Camera, Barstool Trivia Show? You should convince Jeff Lowe and Ken Jack to join the Schmodown. Well, yeah, that's a great reference you made here. Snyder and I, earlier this week, randomly, Jeff Snyder texted me. He said, hey, do you want to help me take on these two guys over at Barstool for their Lights and Camera show? And Jeff and I got together and we took these guys on, and those questions were not Schmodown questions. Every question was almost a 5-pointer or a 10-pointer. It was pretty insane. Maybe some of you all who are bigger Willy Wonka fans would have gotten a couple of these questions right. The rest, but Jeff and I were struggling, and some Caddyshack questions. Yeah, well, okay. What were the two last things Charlie bought from the store before he left the chocolate factory?
You mean aside from the candy?
Well, what was the candy?
We think it was the specifics of the candy. Wow.
Yeah. That's what they wanted to know. The name of the actual candy bars. The two candy bars he got.
I remember the Willy Wonka chocolate bar.
Right, the Wonka bar, yes. What was the other one?
Everlasting Gobstopper?
It was not, and that's what we thought too, a gobstopper, but it was the Scrumptious bar. That's what was the second bar. So yeah, right.
So, that's difficult. That's
right?
rough.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't answer any of the questions right until the final question. I had to, Jeff would come up with some of the answers. I was like, yes, that sounds right. Let's do that. For example, what film did Paul Rudd and Zooey Deschanel star in together in 2011?
You said Paul Rudd and Zooey Deschanel?
Yeah.
Wanderlust?
It was Our Idiot Brother.
Oh, yeah, right. I saw that movie for the first time last year. That movie's great.
Right? Yeah, it's good, but you forget it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, with Elizabeth, what's her name? With Elizabeth Banks, she's in it.
Yes.
And Zooey Deschanel, she plays a bisexual. Oh,
okay.
Gosh darn it.
Right. So this is the
Rashida
level.
Jones is in it.
That's right. This was the level to which we were playing with. And right at the end, there was a question from 1988 movies. I'm not going to ruin it, but Jeff and I got it. It was the only question I answered right in the entire damn thing. And it happened to be the one that won us the game. Thank God. Well, there we go. I spoiled it. But go and watch it if you haven't seen it yet on there. But yes, absolutely would love. I think we want to definitely come back and have a rematch with those guys because they were struggling too. Those questions were so hard. And if Jeff Lowe and Ken Jack ever want to join the Schmodown, I think everybody needs to watch out. Those guys know a lot about movies, so it would be a fun situation for sure. All right, we had some super chats that came through as well. Let me hit them real quick before we jump into our next story. What do we got? Ben Rayner said, you going to get the disc version or the digital version for PS5? Happy Friday. Hope you have a good weekend. Well, for me, I always go disc. I never trust anything digital. I just saw my computer crash before we started. I would say the disc. What about you, Alex?
Digital, probably.
Okay.
Just the other way around. I don't like having stuff in our house.
Oh, okay.
Essentially, clutter? And I understand the physical media and everything. I actually wish I did that, but it's just a lot of times to me it just takes up so much room. Yeah. And everything, and I don't like it. I would rather rebuy it, especially with a lot of movies and stuff being like $5 now. Totally. I mean, I bought the before trilogy for like not even $12 total for all three of them. So
Yeah, fair point. Yeah. All right, Dodger Ryan 124 says, "Call me crazy, but I saved up an extra $1,000 for the PS5 just in case I can't get it for retail for the holidays." It's not crazy at all. Yeah,
planning ahead, my dude. I respect that. Yes.
Yep. You played it well. Keep that $1,000. Don't spend it, and you never know. You might have to get it off of eBay or get it off Craigslist or something from somebody who's selling it for sure. All right, Larry Lee said the King of Staten Island is incredible. Definitely worth a watch. Absolutely, Larry. I saw this one earlier this week. And in fact, today on the Outlaw Nation channel, it already dropped a new episode of The Deep Cut where I interviewed Dave Cyrus, who's one of the writers on The King of Staten Island, talk about what it was like working with Judd Apatow. Him and Pete Davidson go back to when they were 18 years old working together as comics, and they write a lot of things together. So he's a co-writer on the script. He also is that character Brick Stone, which he started YouTube for, where he goes and interrogates the Westboro Baptist Church people. So if, he talks about that a little bit as well. So really good interview. But yes, I enjoyed the movie. I already reviewed it on Twitter. I'll probably do a regular review on the channel very soon. But yes, absolutely great one to watch. It's out on VOD. Definitely go give this thing a chance. Let's see. One more. Mayra M., what about Star Wars movies? Are those 3 trilogies? Yes, they are. Those are 3 separate trilogies.
Yes, that is absolutely one of the arguments. This was all my notes on the trilogies.
Wow.
Because I had to fight against it.
Yeah.
And I'm not okay. And it's not my favorite trilogy of all time, but by golly, do I respect the heck out of it. And so, especially as far as like what it's done for film, the industry in general, even if you don't care about sci-fi movies or anything along those lines, you respect as a film lover what it has done in terms of, sound editing, special effects, heck, puppets, I mean, there's a million and one different directions, how it's influenced, media, but I felt it just hurt my heart. I'm not going to lie, really breaking it down and, winning and beating it and telling everyone else to vote for me because it's the worst trilogy of all time.
About time.
But
yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of Mayra, I got to give her a shout out here. I want to bring it up because I want to make sure I get it correct. Her daughter, she asked me, she's a big fan of the show and she's been on and leaving comments a lot. Her daughter, big shout to her, Alexis Marin, graduated from International Studies Learning Center in Southgate, California. It's a magnet school there in LA. She's going to Wellesley College in Massachusetts this fall. She is very, very proud of her daughter for doing this. And of course, kind of dealing with the COVID situation and the George Floyd things that are going on that kind of like affect what's the celebration or muting the celebration a little bit of what these people are accomplishing now as these young people, as they step into the next phase of their life. But got to give her a big, big shout out. Congratulations, Alexis. Congratulations. Go get it there at Wellesley. Study something that changes the world. Study something that makes our world a better place. Of course, follow your heart and do whatever you want to do. But
don't make money.
If I can encourage you, please do. Well, you can do both. You can do both. You can do both.
Go make some bank, girl. Go to school for like accounting or
what? No.
Learn. No, I know too many people that do not know basic accounting, and that's like really frustrating.
Okay.
Learn practical skills in addition to things that get excited about to learn and try new things for sure. But I'm so excited for you. That's a great college.
It is a great college. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's quite a transition, switching coasts. I love that. So good luck.
There you go. Go make that money doing your thing, but also, follow your dreams and hopefully you land yourself in a really good situation where you can make money and change the world to be a better place. But shout out to you. Congratulations, Alexis. Go get him, girl. Go get him. All right, let's move on to our next topic, and that's a real quick one, and that is Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks himself got himself a movie here. It's called Greyhound, and Apple TV Plus announced yesterday that they are going to drop this thing in July. It'll be on their streaming service, Apple TV Plus. It stars Hanks and Elizabeth Shue, as well as Stephen Graham, Rob Morgan, and Carl Glusman. The film was originally a Paramount Pictures movie and was intended for theatrical release, but after the COVID-19 shutdown, Paramount decided to sell the film to Apple to turn it into an Apple TV Plus original. It's going to be in over 100 countries when it drops, by the time it drops on July 10th. It revolves around a longtime Navy veteran who is played by Hanks. As a first-time captain, he is tasked with protecting a convoy of 37 ships carrying thousands of soldiers and much-needed supplies across the Atlantic Ocean during World War II. The ships must go 5 days without air cover through an area known as the Black Pit, battling Nazi U-boats while protecting their invaluable ships and soldiers. The whole story is based on a real-life event, the Battle of the Atlantic, which took place in the earliest months of America's alliance with Great Britain and the Allied forces. Alex, you look at this. First of all, Do you like that it's coming out on the streaming service? We're starting to see these theaters starting to open up again. We're starting to hear, that release dates are not being moved necessarily for Tenet or Mulan yet. So do you think maybe Paramount jumped the gun on this one? Or is this like the Artemis Fowl situation where Disney knew they had a stinker on their hands, so they thought, well, we can just drop this one on video on demand?
I actually, going into this and reading up on it, I kind of made me feel differently also once I saw the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So the trailer was released as well before very recently, and like you said, it stars Elizabeth Shue as well as Tom Hanks. And when I hear about this, considering, not only Tom Hanks starred it, he also wrote it, but also Aaron Schneider, he's been involved with a lot of TV productions, Get Low, just to name a few.
Yes.
But when I watched the trailer, it didn't look that exciting to me. However, the battle scenes with them at sea looked so cool. Always just like... But then they would like flash back to him being like, "We'll always find you," and I was like, "What is happening right now? I don't want this." But regardless, it does look like a really great high intensity war movie, which I'm so excited for because Hanks in any war movie, I am so excited about. But also at the same time, it didn't. The excitement and intensity, it wasn't consistent throughout the whole trailer. Outside of the wars, the battle scenes, it looked kind of like a TV movie a little bit, almost like a streaming service movie. So I was like, I can definitely see that. So I kind of feel like they might have dodged a bullet a little bit, knowing that it was going to be released in theater. It's not going to be released in theaters. So. Right.
I think it's probably going to be a well-received streaming service film, but maybe it might not have the strongest. I mean, we saw that with Finest Hours. Remember that Chris Pine movie? Looked good. Then you saw it. You're like, oh, this was okay. It wasn't great, but it was okay. Certainly good actors in it and some nice scenes of drama and tension, but maybe overall not the strongest film. So we'll see how Greyhound does. I'm looking forward to it. I like this idea that there's weaving in a mental health storyline and anxiety storyline into Tom Hanks's character. And so I'm curious to see how that plays out and how he plays it, because Lord knows that scene in Captain Phillips when it's all over and he's in that medic bay area, being talked to by the doctor, and he's shaking and talking, like, it's one of the greatest acting scenes I've ever seen. So maybe some of that he will call upon in the movie as well. And it's a Paramount Pictures in conjunction with Sony Pictures. BCD Shoutouts is both. So yes, absolutely. But yes, it is going to Apple TV Plus. So we're looking forward to seeing what how that plays out. But I'm excited for it, and hopefully it's a good movie. And it's based on a C.S. Forrester novel. So maybe if some of you want to read the novel before you go see the movie, it is out there for you to do that. All right. Any more Streamlabs? One more here from D-Train. He said, I'd argue with you, Rocha, about trilogies not being real trilogies, because for most trilogies like Star Wars, Toy Story, Indiana Jones, etc., there was a huge gap between the third and fourth movie. So there was some time people thought they were actually trilogies. Yes, there was. And then guess what happened?
At one point.
Right. I mean,
Not
the Star Wars ones are trilogies because they're completely separate stories in each one. The Indiana Jones one, no, that's not a trilogy anymore. Sorry. Neither is Toy Story, or anything that has a fourth installment is no longer a trilogy. With Star Wars, is completely separate because you're casting completely different people. You could argue that the most recent trilogy, you could argue that could eliminate the original trilogy since those characters come back. But I think because you have different people in the lead, in my opinion, those are all separate trilogies. But the second you make another one, a fourth one, it destroys the fact that it's a trilogy overall. There's not, in my opinion, there's nothing to argue here. That's how it works. You could argue that if the Friday 13th had three of those back to back, that was a trilogy. But then the fourth one is 5 years later or 10 years later. It's not a trilogy. It's still the same character and everything like that. What do you think, Alex?
I totally agree with everything you're saying. It's the idea. The definition of a trilogy does not change.
Right.
Regardless of like when the movies come out, if it's they only require the 3 films. Like technically, like for example, Lord of the Rings trilogy is a trilogy within the franchise. The Hobbit is the Hobbit, you know, with Saug, you know, Smaug. It's a very completely different storyline from the trilogy. Therefore, even though they are part of the same franchise, they are completely different storylines. So I can definitely understand the argument of it being a franchise versus a trilogy. But for something like Indiana Jones, for example, it is the continuation of the same characters, the same mission, a lot of the same villains and heroes and everything. So it is not a trilogy in any sense, honestly. Sadly,
agree.
I love the Indiana Jones movies.
Me too. Mayor M says, when did Tom Hanks become America's dad?
Late 90s, maybe.
Apollo 13, I think, is when the transition starts to happen. Apollo 13 is when it starts to happen. Andrew G says Star Wars trilogies on trilogies. Yes, absolutely.
Best trilogy of trilogies for sure. Right. Definitely a great argument. Absolutely.
Agreed. All right, Alex, let's crack our knuckles and get into this topic here. This is a big one. J.K. Rowling, yes, that lady who wrote the Harry Potter series, is in the news for all the wrong reasons here. She posted a series of tweets on June 6th to her 14.5 million followers. By the way, I thought she'd have more than 14.5, but hey, that's how it goes. She was talking about trans rights and transsexuals and this idea of sex. And I don't mean actual sex, I mean male or female. She said, if sex isn't real, there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of so many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate to speak the truth. And this caused a massive fallout from a lot of fans and from some of the actors who have been involved in her movies here. Melissa Anelli, who is the founder and CEO of Mischief Management, which is a fan events company that runs a popular Harry Potter convention thing called LeakyCon. She said, for somebody who stood so much for equality and tolerance for so many years, to actively punch down on a marginalized group like all Harry Potter fans who feel this way, I'm just kind of devastated. Then she said supporting a creator with this view is difficult. And then later on in the article that I'm taking off of Variety here, she goes on to say that she doesn't actually want to put on these events anymore because of what she said. That's massive. Absolutely massive. Jackson Bird, who's a writer and YouTube creator whose memoir Sorted chronicles how Harry Potter, the fandom, helped him come out as a trans person, said that it was a weird time for her to come out with these views as people are protesting in support of Black Lives Matter. He said for her to decide to use her incredible, or they said for her to decide to use her incredible platform to be very critical and hateful towards a particular group of people, it just seems an irresponsible use of the platform by one of the most influential people in the world. Daniel Radcliffe, of course, played Harry Potter, responded with an essay, and he said, transgender women are women. Any statement to the contrary erases the identity and dignity of transgender people and goes against all advice given by professional healthcare associations who have far more expertise on this subject matter than either Rowling or I. Eddie Redmayne also said, I disagree with Joe's comments. Trans women are women, trans men are men, and non-binary identities are valid. And then Emma Watson chimed in as well and said, trans people are who they say they are and deserve to live their lives without being constantly questioned or told they aren't who they say they are. So this is, and she responded, J.K. Rowling responded back with this long essay where she painted herself as a victim of harassment, said she responded to a tweet calling her a TERF by tweeting about feminazis and used the term bitch and witch, and said that women hate is eternal. And basically said that, like, you know, she's right to have her point of view. She feels this way and everything. So, Alex, what's your overall feeling on this? Of course, she has every right to speak her mind, but people have every right to respond to her and try to and are really conflicted about this now because people love Harry Potter so much, and so many people have used Harry Potter to, kind of escape into when things have gotten tough in their lives and find a place of friendship, find a place to get lost in that shows a better world than the world they're living in, and accepting people who are different. What do you think about all of this?
Well, one of the most beautiful things about the Wizarding world that she created is how inclusive, how
Yes.
fluid, identities are, between, magic and non-magic people, between creatures. And, that applies to sexualities and genders as well. So it
Yeah.
was very surprising to me. She went into a lot of the technicalities behind this.
Yeah.
And because there are, a lot of gender fluid characters, she's admitted,
Yeah.
and people of the the characters that are trans, as well in her Wizarding world, and so
Yeah.
to say otherwise is completely bonkers.
Right.
But so it really does hurt my heart, honestly, hearing
Yeah.
this, just because I am a huge fan of the Wizarding world. I read every single Harry Potter book that I own. I have them all.
Yeah.
I read the entire series at least once a year,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just so good. But hearing this really kind of devastates me, especially because I'm also one of the very few people that actually really likes the Fantastic Beasts movies, and they're already on their last legs. And knowing this and how directly she is involved as not only the writer but also executive producers in those movies, because they're not based on her books, or she's actually writing the scripts. It's really making me believe that those movies are not going to really come out to fruition at all anymore, unfortunately, which really kind of devastates me, because I really enjoyed them. I was like one of 5 people total that actually really genuinely like them.
Yeah, I mean, she wrote this essay as well, trying to defend herself, and some of these quotes in the essay I want to bring up. She says she noted the harrowing accounts she'd read by trans men about gender dysphoria. Rowling said, if I'd been born... Yeah, exactly. It's very real. She said, if I'd been born 30 years later, I too might have tried to transition. She said, as she experienced mental health issues and struggled with her body as a teenager, the allure of escaping womanhood would have been huge, she wrote. If I'd found community and sympathy online that I couldn't find in my immediate environment, I believe I could have been persuaded to turn myself into the son my father had openly said he'd have preferred. Wow. Trans people need and deserve protection, which was nice of her to say that. Like women, they're most likely to be killed by sexual partners. This is very, very true. But a lot of people, trans activists, writers, organizations, all of them expressed complete and utter disdain for this essay of hers. Sarah McBride, actually, who's a trans activist and press secretary for the Human Rights Campaign, compared Rowling to Vice President Mike Pence, who is known to support anti-LGBTQ policies. She's tweeted nearly 4,000 words for J.K. Rowling to come out as Mike Pence. Feels a bit excessive. Wow, strong stuff. Emily Vanderwerth, who is a critic for Vox.com, said J.K. Rowling's essay is dangerous hogwash that will only hurt trans people and reinforce a gender binary that oppresses women. But go off, I guess. And Sarah Denari, who is a writer as well. She's a journalist and a trans activist who's written for The Guardian, CNN, Playboy, and Allure. She said, in all seriousness, though, J.K. Rowling is the worst kind of transphobe because she somehow has convinced herself that she has love and compassion for trans people while simultaneously denying our humanity and relentlessly attacking us. She should just admit she hates trans people. And Alex, let me throw something more into here that I want to see what you think. I found this yesterday. It was a series of tweets that this fat feminist witch, which is a fun account to follow. She screen grabbed some tweets here. Drew Bowie is the account. Robert Galbraith Heath is the name of a psychiatrist that pioneered gay conversion therapy in the mid-20th century. Robert Galbraith is the writing pseudonym used by J.K. Rowling for a series of novels which present at least one trans woman as a villain, in which prison rape is threatened as a punishment. Then screen grabbed J.K. Rowling's account, which does say writer sometimes known as Robert Galbraith. Then screen grabs gay conversion therapy and this patient B19 story that goes on here in the scene from Rowling's novel. He quotes it: in the scene, a trans woman, Pippa, follows and tries to stab the protagonist, Cormoran Strike, before getting trapped in Strike's office. After demanding Pippa's ID, her trans status is revealed and her visible Adam's apple is noted. While it's noted that her hands were jammed in her pockets, Pippa tries several times to escape the office before Strike finally says, "If you go for that door one more time, I'm calling the police and I'll testify and be glad to watch you go down for murder. And it won't be fun for you, Pippa. Not pre-op." Wow. So this is just, I don't know, it's an overwhelmingly unsettling situation here that I'm just shocked by. And I agree. If you're a transphobe, just come on out and say it. Stop playing both sides. We see this already with Black Lives Matter. If you have a racist ideology, just come out and say it. Stop hiding behind lies and cover and whatever. Just say it straight up. And I think in this situation, it's hard to ignore all the facts that are lining up to prove that she is a transphobe. What do you think?
There's also the conversation as well that she's talking about gay conversions therapy, and she's talking about you can't be a woman unless you are biologically born. So, you know, a lot of things along those lines, unfortunately. And that's really, it's very infuriating because one, sexuality and gender is a very different thing. A lot of people confuse them, but those are very different discussions. And you can be, if you are a trans person or if you're a trans person and you're going through that transition, you can be straight or gay or asexual. You know, that's your business. Right. That's not something for me to decide. Right. You know, if it's very frustrating again, because I really love this world and everything she's created such an amazing world that includes a lot of these characters, and yet she has like no sympathy for them, and she's making light of a lot of really difficult topics such as prison rape. That is not something to be trifled with. That is a real horrible situation for a lot of people of the trans community that have been to prison. And you're totally right, where if you are a person of the trans community, you're much more likely to be victims of crimes. You're much more likely for horrible things to happen to you, by not only your direct partner, by strangers as well, by family, by friends, to be kicked out of your home. Just statistically speaking, that's just much more likely to happen. Now, it's frustrating. I'm sorry. It's just very frustrating. I hate it so much.
I know it is. And I think you're seeing what you're going through right here is what a lot of the fandom is going through, this struggle of like, I don't want to hate this franchise or dislike this franchise or cancel this franchise because it meant so much to me. And the story of J.K. Rowling is really resonant as well. This is a woman who was on the dole with a child, had suicidal thoughts, mental health issues. And she wrote that book going back and forth to a crappy job on a train just to survive. And then wrote the series out from there, became this multi-million-dollar person with multi-billion-dollar person. That's right. Fair point. With a strong fan base, a huge platform. And she's using it to essentially slide into a bit of, weird transphobia and mania about this, and refuses to look at it, refuses to take a moment and go like, oh, well, people are maybe opening my eyes to this kind of thing. Instead, she's painting herself as a victim of harassment, as a victim of the cancel culture, as a victim of the Twitter mob or whatever they want to call themselves, whatever she wants to call them rather. And some people are defending her and saying that she is a right, and that she has, not that she has a right, but rather that she is right.
On our chat included.
Oh yeah. Here we go. Myra M. She
it doesn't matter, but they don't matter.
Not to defend JK, but I think some of this is a generational religion thing. A lot of them are set in their ways, and it's hard for them to change them. I had these types of talks with them, but you could use that excuse for Black Lives Matter, can't you? Oh, it's hard to change these people. They have their opinions and their beliefs. You've always heard that. Well, that's of the time. That thought is of the time, but that's never been true. That's never been true. There's always been someone who was out there trying to make you think correctly about a situation. A majority of people just didn't listen. There were abolitionists during slavery times. People throughout the history of the country have not liked the way we have treated Black people in the history of this country, or any minorities in the history of this country, including interning Japanese during World War II. So there's always people who are out there trying to tell you what's right, what's wrong. You just don't want to listen. And plenty of women through Me Too, for centuries, women have told you how they've been treated by men. But men just didn't want to listen until finally Me Too made people wake up and listen. And so it's just like, this is the way it goes in the world, unfortunately. And this is another situation where she could really take a moment to go, you know what? All these people are responding in this way. Maybe I should take a little more time and take a look at this.
Yeah. Well, something that's also being, I'm really curious about her as well, is that she's very vocal about how she is, like she says, she's friends with a lot of people in that community. Not only the trans community, but within the LGBT community as well. Yes. They are such a huge part of her fandom, and making it that much more difficult to hear this. Yeah. So, but at the same time, she's had people within that community be like, come forward and say, hey, I just want to let you know, as a friend, as a fan, you're wrong on these points.
Yes.
Or I can see where you're coming from this angle, but based on actual experience, you're wrong. And, you know, sure, opinions don't change. I mean, opinions can change, but some people, they're really fixed in their ways. Absolutely. But this is a time now more than ever where it's okay. We need to acknowledge our ego, our pride, and it's okay more than ever to realize that we are making mistakes every single day, especially when it comes to having stereotypes or whatever it may be, whether it be gender or racial, and so just acknowledge it and be like, hey, how can I do better? And she's just like, and she's not having that. That wasn't her reaction. She wasn't asking people of the community, hey, how can I be better? What am I doing wrong? She's saying, no, if anything, I'm going to write an essay reaffirming everything. I'm standing clear to what I'm sticking to. And you know what? I do respect that. She is getting she's sticking to that. I respect that to a certain extent, but at the same time, if you're going to stick to your guns, you don't want it to be this. You want it to be something else where people are going to not only back you up, but for something where you actually have people of that community do have your back. And that's just not the case with this.
And hiding behind religious beliefs isn't enough. This idea, this idea of gay conversion therapy is that's violating someone's human rights to be who they are.
It's illegal.
Yeah, and it should. Yeah,
in a lot of countries and a lot of states.
Even though they try to push it here in certain states, like I knew there was the one in Nevada that Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann, her husband was an advocate of gay conversion therapy, and that stuff is not about religion. No longer. It's about you having a disgust for that lifestyle and then hiding behind God's words, which never said kill trans people or convert people back or any of that crap that you made up in your minds. He never said that. And as a religious person myself, I too take massive offense when people use God's words and Jesus Christ's words in such a negative way to twist it into their own warped, racist or misogynistic or transphobic points of views. It makes me incredibly upset. Mayra M says that's why celebrities should not tweet. It gets them in trouble. It either shows how ignorant they are or old tweets are used against them. Well, I think if you tweet out something positive, it doesn't get you in trouble. And you can pick and choose what to tweet about. It's always I'm always, even in my way low level status of the 30,000 followers, like I try to be very aware of what I'm tweeting. I can't imagine if I have 15 million followers, how much even more hyper aware I'd be of what I'm tweeting. So,
way low status at only 30,000 followers.
That's not that much. It's not that much.
Oh yeah. Speaking to a lady that doesn't even have 500 followers, let's calm down, John.
I'm just saying.
Let's calm down.
I'm not comparing myself to you. I'm trying to go higher. So I'm just comparing myself to them.
Whatever. Okay. But you are totally right on everything. Gender and sexual classification are not binary, and more people are and should be realizing it. Yeah. It's absolutely. It's not for anyone else to tell you how you should feel.
Yeah.
Would you tell a person of the Black or African American community how they should feel in this whole situation? Mm-hmm. No, that's their business. Okay.
Exactly.
As someone, I may be Asian, but at the same time, by no means do I consider myself like a full-fledged, mixed woman, obviously, like you said, you're Latino. We have very different circumstances and our approaches, and you're living in LA. I'm living in St. Louis. We have very different situations going on around us actively right now. Yeah. And so we should, I don't feel like I should tell a trans person how they should feel against J.K. Rowling, or how a Black person or African-American person should feel about the rioting going on right now. That's their business, and they can tell me how they feel, and I am going to learn from that. But by no means should I tell, hey, you should feel fine about this.
Right.
You should be okay with J.K. Rowling make a complete ass of herself.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Agreed.
It's frustrating. I'm sorry. There's a lot. We can.
I put it in here for us to have a discussion. This is entertainment. This is what's happening in the world of entertainment. It's part of it. Tim says the more we ignore our mistakes, the more likely we could write our extinction of the human race. Well, I don't know if I'm that dramatic, but certainly I think the more we ignore our mistakes, we could ignore something that could save us down the road. Maybe. Certainly a possibility.
Acknowledging mistakes is a good thing. We have to, in order to move on and better ourselves as the human race, we have to acknowledge our mistakes and learn from them and move past them.
Yeah.
So mistakes are good. Mistakes are good. How many times did Edison making a light bulb fail making that light bulb? That's a lot of mistakes before he succeeded. So
it's true. He still screwed over Tesla. All right, Tavishka Productions sent in a couple of Streamlabs, said, is it healthier for artists to keep differing opinions quiet and have the conversations offline versus having the debate publicly on social media? It is better to be thought a fool than to open your mouth and prove it. With the current culture and climate, we often polarize subjective topics as right or wrong. Justified or not, it creates hostile environments, some needed for conversation to understand, others are just decisive. I think you have every right to speak your mind. But when you do, you also incur the wrath of one side or the other. But you want to be on the right side of history. That's kind of where you want to be. And the right side of history is almost always on the progressive side of history. I hate to break it to you. That's usually the way it goes. And I think with something like this is another situation where it has to be explored in a certain way. And hopefully at some point she comes around in her own mind to the situation. And we've seen already so many people have been like, seeing this George Floyd murder was really finally a moment for them to take a step back. Like, there's something more here that I maybe didn't open my eyes to before. So we'll see. We'll see from her.
I'm hoping that, because, a lot of people of that community are coming forward being like, hey, you're wrong. Just want to, I don't hate you yet, but just want to let you know this is definitely not how we feel. But that's a whole other conversation.
And this is incorrect. History told is on the side of the reigning empire. That's not true. That's not true at all. I mean, South Africa was apartheid for how many years? And people were still talking about apartheid until that regime was overturned. That regime was trying to present a certain point of view, but they were eventually overturned. So it is not always.
History is that's a very, again, that's another really big conversation. But how does Germany teach World War II?
Right.
And World War I? They're not completely obsolete from their history class. Those are huge parts of their national history that they have to acknowledge. And they actively go against, they are actively being working against every single day that they vocally have done so. So that is sure. I mean, that I feel like that is a quote that does go around. History is written by winners. But it's not the case realistically. So for everyone across the board, for every situation, there
are a lot of losers who write history as well,
us included,
right? I mean, there's a lot.
We've lost wars. We write about them. We talk about them. We acknowledge them.
Look at the Civil War. They lost that war, the South. But how many books can you walk into a bookstore and find from the Southern point of view? You're seeing these statues being taken down. We've had statues for over a century in this country, bringing up Civil War generals or hyping up civil people involved in the Civil War in the South. And those are now starting to be taken down. And people are like, oh, you're taking away history. I was taught the Civil War in class, both points of views, and it's still being taught now. So history is not always written by the winners. That's for damn sure. always, if you have a more rounded education, you will find history from both sides, both points of views, if it's available to be out there. I mean, look at Brandon Hanna. He's trying to write a history, and he's a loser. So, it's just those kinds of things that he does.
What a weenie.
Losers are always trying to write their own history. And I appreciated him cosplaying as me last night. It's pretty sad. He should have showed the picture of his mom wearing cowboy boots to my match because she's a big fan of the Outlaw. I guess when your mom doesn't love you, you just turn into a bad person. So sorry, Brandon. But tell your mom I said hi. The Outlaw Nation. She's always available to come on as the guest of the Outlaw Nation. You, not so much. Get some more followers, then maybe I'll consider you. All right, let's move on. Let's take a quick break. Alex, what would you like to pitch for yourself?
I have less followers than he does. Am I getting kicked off?
You have better followers.
Maybe we would too. Okay, so we have several really. Tonight I'm actually going to be doing. Schmobates. It's actually with Bibbs. William the Beast Bibbiani. I keep wanting to call him Bibbs Bibbiani. I'm like, that's not his name. William the Beast Bibbiani. That's going to be going up tonight, up against Billy Belford. Billy Belford, he's actually won 3 Schmobate matches, and Bibbs has only won once. So wow. I'm really kind of curious to see how that's going to play out. They're both really wonderful debaters, and so that's going to be going on at 9:30 Central. You can come hang out with me over at the Call to Action podcast. You can just search for it on YouTube, and I'm going to be posting that here pretty soon.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Did he win? There's a lot of controversy whether he won or not. I'm just letting you know. There's a lot of controversy.
Technically, he won, and I have mentioned. I was like, hey, it doesn't matter if you watch this and if you vote tomorrow or later that evening or 4 o'clock in the morning, it doesn't matter. You have to vote within the designated time because if you don't, you're screwed. And I told you,
matter when you vote.
Don't matter. So you have to. It's like it's all timed. I'm not gonna wait 36 hours for you to watch it and then make your decision. That's just not the way we're about. I want instant gratification. I want answers, and I want a winner by the end of the episode. So what are you gonna do?
Look at this douche nozzle. Come on, guy. Lift a weight. Run around the block every once in a while. Come on. You look terrible. Man. You look terrible. You look terrible.
He looks so small.
Doesn't he? He's just a little. Look at him. He's just a little thing.
He looks like he's 10 pounds.
I think I saw that jacket at a thrift store one time, or maybe at a 99-cent store. I don't know. Oh, well, there you go, Brandon. All right. He
is wearing the 5 Horsemen shirt, though. So
yeah, I don't know where he got it. We don't make them in extra small, but I guess they were available there. Maybe he went and shopped kid sizes. I think for that chicken chest of his. What?
Yeah, it definitely is children's sizes. Absolutely. Oh, it's rough.
Anthony Gonzalez. What the hell is that pic? Stop, please.
I agree. Manny.
Anyway.
My dude.
Let's move on. But he was doing a great stream last night for Black Lives Matter charity. So I hope a lot of people tuned in and donated. All that's all Schmodown to heels personalities aside. I'm glad he did that and donated did a stream for people to send in their donations. So shout out to Brandon Hanna in that way. All right, and of course the Outlaw Nation is here. Please subscribe below on the Outlaw Nation, and all the great content as I mentioned earlier. Dave Cyrus, the deep cut interview is up today. I also had an interview yesterday that I dropped with the director of You Don't Know Me, which is a new documentary on Paul Verhoeven and the redemption of the movie Showgirls. Jeffrey McHale is the director of that. He sat down with me for an hour to talk about the process of it all. Of course, all of this is also going to be available on the Outlaw Nation Podcast Network. If you don't want to watch on YouTube, you just listen to it. But if you're a burgeoning filmmaker, especially a documentary filmmaker, I think you would get a lot out of this interview with Jeffrey McHale. And also, you can also get a lot from the interview with Dave Cyrus today as a writer and what he goes through in his process as a comedy writer for the King of Staten Island. And later on today at 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock PT live. Aaron Turner and I, strong style, Another brand new episode of our pro wrestling show is going to be up for you all to enjoy. We're talking about all kinds of things. We're going to break down that Ric Flair 24 documentary that's up there on the WWE Network. We're going to revisit Mankind versus The Undertaker, Hell in a Cell, King of the Ring, 1998. That is there. We're also going to talk about the results from NXT TakeOver in your house and also what it means for the WWE creative teams for Raw and SmackDown now to be combined into one creative team, and Paul Heyman removed from that team and just turned into a character on TV. So a lot of stuff we're going to talk about today. 4 p.m. PT live on the Outlaw Nation channel. All right, let's move on to our next thing. What do we got? Oh, Suge's in here. I haven't seen him in a long time. Came to show my dad some love. Hashtag Outlaw Nation. Maybe I think maybe Ben Goddard took a bathroom break, so Suge slid on over here. Thanks, Suge, for coming over for a couple of minutes. All right, let's move on to our next topic today. And if I got this right, it is Lily James. Lily James, who I love. Yeah. Two pieces as an actress. She has recently signed on to be in this new movie. She's going to play this real life character, Peggy Jo Tallis, I think her name was. She's a bank robber who committed her heists while dressed as a man. And it is from Salt director Philip Noyce. He's going to be directing this thing. And it's being pitched as Bonnie, but without the Clyde. And it's been adapted for the screen by Appaloosa writer Robert Knopf. By the way, Appaloosa, a underappreciated Western with Viggo Mortensen, Ed Harris, and Renee Zellweger. So Simon Brooks is one of the producers, says he's been looking to make a movie with Philip Noyce for years, and Peggy Jo is finally the one. By the way, I do have a picture I want to put up, Alex, of the real life Peggy Jo Tallis. And when she dressed up as the man, she was a bank. She robbed banks for about 5 years, dressed as a man. The guy's name was Cowboy Bob. This is a picture of the real life Cowboy Bob. Yeah, this is what she actually.
He looks like a different version of you.
No way. No way. Like that. Are you kidding? Look at that. That looks like Charlie Daniels' younger brother.
Different version of you. Like if it was like if it, he was they were like your brother from another mother situation. You know,
True.
Like look at that hat, the sunglasses. He even has a jacket and a tie. Yeah. Robin Banks. I don't know how much more outlaw you can get. I mean, Rocha.
How dare you? How dare you, young lady? How dare you?
I don't know what you're talking about. You gotta respect your family, man. So
yeah, sure, man.
I'm so excited. I'm excited. This is the real life story. Peggy Jo.
Look at her. It's insane.
That's pretty fantastic. Not to mention, you can't really tell, that's Outlaw's brother. So,
I cut it out.
Sister, sorry.
So first of all, it's a white person, so it couldn't be my brother.
I said, you don't know. They could be mixed. Like I said, they could be your sibling from another person. You're one of your parents. Okay, you never know.
All right, fine.
Your parents have lives outside of you, Rocha. Okay.
No, okay. Not to the point where they would actually, do that. No, they don't have lives.
They had lives before you.
Yes, but they weren't having kids with other people before
me. You don't
me.
know that.
What's wrong with you?
Entire lives before you. What have you done?
Anyway, so this is happening. She robbed 5 banks. Like you can find her story. It's a tragic ending to her story, so it's very interesting. Yes. She did this at a time when she had apparently it was a relationship that had gone sour, and she found out that her boyfriend was cheating on her with a bank co-worker at the bank that he was working at. So that was the first bank she robbed, and then subsequently robbed a bunch of other banks. But it was also because she was trying to make ends meet. Her mother had gotten sick, and she didn't want to put her mother in in an assisting living center. So she had to take care of her mom. So it was a lot of bills and financial obligations. And she eventually turned to bank robbing for a few years and was never caught until she returned to it later in life. So it's very interesting to read up on her and how she escaped authorities for a very long time before she finally returned to what she did, which led to a tragic ending for her. So shout out to Lily James. This is almost like a monster situation where she's going to maybe kind of have to, kind of make herself a little more less attractive than she actually is. And we'll see how this film turns out. Do you like this idea?
I'm pretty excited hearing it, because I actually really love bank heist films, between Bandit. That was that one with Robert Redford that came out not too long ago, which I really enjoyed as well. But Gabriel Stewart mentioned that Pedro is all about wanting more from your life. Sorry, more than your life presents to you, and celebrates with a wink and a nod many of our favorite films from the 70s through the 80s in tone, fun, music, color, and pure escapist entertainment with a whole load of heart. So honestly, that description really makes me excited because I sometimes especially with this subject, I don't want a really hefty, dramatic situation. This sounds like it sounds like a very ridiculous situation. She literally dressed up as a man and robbed banks, including her ex-boyfriends. I mean, if that's not baller, I don't know what is. And so I want a baller movie. I'm excited.
Okay. I respect that. Yeah. A baller movie is good. It's always good to have a baller movie. So respect on that end. Yeah, I like the idea. And I love Lily James as an actress. And, we haven't seen her lead films for a couple of years now. We did see her in Yesterday as the love interest in that film. She's about to be on Netflix in a remake of Rebecca, which is the only film that Laurence Olivier won a Best Picture for. So they're redoing it on Netflix. So that'll be interesting to see how she plays that. But she is someone that burst out of Downton Abbey. And I loved her for that. And so we'll see how she does in her next film. Let me see if we've got any Streamlabs or Super Chats that have rolled through. Keep sending them in. Keep sending them in. We love to get your Streamlabs and your Super Chats and answer them. So please, as we go to the tail end, we got about 15, 20 minutes left in the show. So let's move on to our next story here. And that is, what do we got? What do we got going on next here? Oh yeah, the Clone Wars. Boom. Dave Filoni. He came out and spoke about the fact that a lot of people wanted a Clone Wars, a season 8 of Clone Wars. And unfortunately, he couldn't. He's saying that it is not going to happen. He feels like he's kind of like closed the door on that situation and spoke about it in an interview with The Nerdist, I believe, and went into detail about why he's done with it and why he thinks they've kind of, closed the loop on this one. And look, all props to him. Like there's a lot that you could have explored here to go into a season 8, but they feel like they've kind of hit what they needed to hit. What he specifically said is, I don't know personally for me, probably not. I have a lot of things I'm excited that we're doing, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's hard because I so appreciate the fan support. I appreciate just how excited everybody was that we were back. I understand them wanting more and more episodes, that people worked on it, myself and the team, basically all the leads, they were on the original run, and I think it shows. We're just really thankful we got to finish it. But I also think creatively, you always want to move forward. I think you could get stuck in a situation where suddenly we're doing all these stories again, but where is the ending? And I don't want that feeling. I will say one other thing, because I don't think I say it enough. Kevin Kiner's music was just phenomenal. The finale, I mean, it's phenomenal. It's an all-timer, but no more so than wrapping up this ending. So, basically saying that that's it, Alex. Are you happy with this? Do you think he's making the right decision? Remember those last 4 episodes? A lot of people said that's the Star Wars movie they should have gotten rather than Rise of Skywalker. And for people who love Rise of Skywalker, that 4-episode arc was a second great movie to be released in December. What did you think? What do you think about his comments?
I have not seen the show personally. I've seen I haven't. I'm honestly really scared to dive into it because one, I'm not a huge Star Wars person, and that's fine.
Oh my God.
It's just that's fine. I acknowledge them and I understand them and I think they're great. I've seen every single one of them. It's fine. It's whatever. But I really love The Mandalorian. Yes. I really enjoy The Mandalorian so much more than I thought I would. Now, Dave Filoni, obviously, from what I've seen, from what I've heard from my husband, he's mentioned numerous times. It is arguably definitely one of the best character arcs, one of the best but one of the best characters we haven't seen in film. In Star Wars universe, at least. And so it's really surprising that, they're not going to continue. But if they do feel like, honestly, if everyone involved is like, yeah, we wrapped it up with a bow so perfectly and we're that content with the ending everyone involved with, I do not blame them. But also Filoni in particular, he's getting a lot of offers of brand new projects, not only in Star Wars, but otherwise. So it makes me, I do know he is going to be, he did debut specifically in the Mandalorians in the director role. He's expected to continue his involvement in the upcoming season. There's a bunch of rumored projects being he's going to be directly involved. So I really wouldn't be surprised if he ends up taking even more of a creative role in future projects. on a larger projects overall.
Okay.
And not to mention Star Wars right now more than ever is, unfortunately, it's a very divided fandom.
Yeah, true.
And what everyone can agree on is how amazing Filoni is and what a positive impact he has had on the franchise in general.
True.
So need more of them.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Alex. And, it's sometimes, people want you to hold on until you make that bad season. And then you make that bad season, and then people's like, why did we even have this season? Why did you do that? So you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. Like, it's the number one rule in entertainment. Always leave them wanting more. Always. And I think Dave is doing the right thing. And like you said, Mandalorian has been incredible. I think they're eyeing him to do more movies, possibly eventually down the road, maybe even taking over the entire Star Wars franchise and making it his own. That would be incredible as well.
Yeah. That'd be pretty awesome. I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll start liking them. Who knows?
No, different points of views are fine, people. People getting all like, it's
all good. Yeah. It's honestly, I love that Rocha and I have such different, views on movies and TV and a lot of these stories as well. I mean, not only just obviously we're both incredibly different people, but it's just like a fun time. Like you just love fighting on camera.
There's a reason when I mentioned the thing to Alex, we were having a back and forth about how I wanted Mornings of the Outlaw to go to the next level. Alex was one of those people that I was seeking advice from because I trust Alex's point of view on the world. I've always enjoyed watching her on things. She has a good command of herself, and I respect the fact she's willing to go toe to toe and defend her opinion. And look, she walked into that generals debate. I bet everybody said no way she'd win a trilogy debate with the before trilogy or the after trilogy, and she rolled in there and won it. So the reason she is on the show and will remain on the show for as long as she wants to be on the show is because she has good, strong opinions, and I like going back and forth with her when we agree or disagree. So it's a fun situation. So she's never going off the show, people, for God's sakes.
Not to mention, like every interaction we've had, we've almost fought in person and otherwise. So
I don't recall that.
Not like a fight, but I mean, like we've always disagreed on topics.
Yeah,
a lot of them. So
yeah, I disagree on the fact that you had to hate me to be a part of the Action Army.
I was told that, and I was a baby Schmodown fan. Okay, whatever. You were the competitor that got me into Schmodown, but I guess we're just gonna make that completely obsolete.
That's huge.
You were. I'm not gonna lie. You like because you were like because I started watching in the second season, I want to say, and I didn't grow up with wrestling or anything at all, so I didn't understand it. Because I thought everything was real. I thought you were like legitimately not a good guy for a minute. But then it was like but I remember seeing you on Collider Movie Talk or something, and I was like, and then I realized that you weren't.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, it's a character. Oh, so that's not real. Oh, it's this, and it clicked for me for there. And now I am a fan of the best team of all time, Team Action.
Oh, so they don't, but they're no longer okay. Sure.
Again, the best team of all time.
Don't you have to win titles? All right. Anyway,
no,
all right. Let's.
You don't. I'm sorry. Do you have a fandom as large as the Action Army? Do they follow you to each and every live event, even if you're not performing?
Yes.
No.
Did you miss all the fives in Orlando?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. They chant my name when I go to live. What are you talking about?
Oh, I was there in Orlando.
Yeah,
I was there.
Yeah, I saw the 10 people that were Action Army, and I saw the 200 other people that were Outlaw Nation.
And also we were louder, so it's interesting. So,
That's not true.
Yeah, we were totally. Yeah, everyone was just like, "Oh, cool." Actually, if anything, high five. Oh, wait, I guess we're gonna keep it up here now. So that's why these are up here.
I'm not denigrating the Action Army. The Action Army is a strong faction, and I love them to pieces, and they've helped me out a lot launching my thing. I'm just saying, don't diss the Outlaw Nation. It is a strong nation. And we'll touch on that in just a second. But our last thing is the Eurovision trailer here dropped from Netflix. It's a Eurovision Song Contest trailer, which is really, really interesting time to drop this. Will Ferrell, Rachel McAdams, the full-length trailer dropped last night from Netflix. I enjoyed the trailer, but with some trepidation. Dan Stevens is playing essentially the main villain. And this is a real thing. This Eurovision Song Contest thing has been going on for about 50 years in Europe. I did some deep dive research on it when this song of theirs, like a minute of their song, dropped with Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams. Are playing this Icelandic duo who is trying to represent their country in the Eurovision Song Contest. Celine Dion became famous out of the Eurovision Song Contest. So this is a real thing. And you don't actually have to be from that country to compete. Celine Dion competed for another country besides Canada.
I think it was France or something, right?
I think it was Switzerland, actually, but it might have been France. But she competed for another country to represent them and won. But either way, this trailer looked funny to me. But I hope it's not Holmes and Watson, and I hope it's more Anchorman or Talladega Nights. What did you think of this trailer?
You were totally right on the money. I enjoyed this trailer so much more than I thought it would, but like you said, with a little bit of hesitation as well. Will Ferrell in particular, he's really hit and miss. I was one of the few people that actually really enjoyed Anchorman 2. I love Anchorman 1. It's definitely one of the most quotable movies of all time.
Yes.
You know, that Talladega Nights, so good. I was Sacha Baron Cohen. But he's also had some serious misses. You know, The House, Holmes and Watson with it's so bad. But
yeah, it was bad.
It's so bad. But he's working with a director that I'm actually kind of confident in, and so I just want to double check.
Yeah, it's the director who did Wedding Crashers.
Yeah, Wedding Crashers, but also The Judge with RDJ and Robert Duvall. So, you know, a lot of people are actually involved that I'm really excited about. You know, Pierce Brosnan, Dan Stevens, Rachel McAdams, Will Ferrell, and not to mention this is like a ridiculous escapist movie. It looks really funny. It's focused a lot on, you know, physical comedy, which I'm all excited for, and also it's with the Eurovision, which is already a crazy, ridiculous, and fun, you know, world, you know, internationally speaking. And so I'm really excited to see this actually come, because I haven't seen any, surprisingly, now I think about it, no movies or anything that I know of really kind of focus on how popular it is. I mean, Graham Norton, to me, my favorite TV show host of all time, is in it. And I am super excited. So,
me too. I hope it's good. I want it to be good. And look, Rachel McAdams, remember her in Game Night? Remember her in a number of other comedies. She can be quite funny when called upon, and I'm excited to see what she can do. The song that they do is called Volcano Man. So you can watch the trailer itself, which is about 2 minutes, and then you can watch it like a minute on that, and it's going to be coming out on Netflix really soon. I had the notes before my computer crashed about when it's dropping. I think it's dropping June 20th. The soundtrack arrives June 26th for the movie. So I imagine around that time is when the film is going to drop itself. So I apologize, I don't have the exact date, but let me go to the end of the trailer, then maybe it'll tell me when it's dropping, you know. Netflix, June 26th. So yeah, on the same day that the soundtrack drops, the film will be dropping on Netflix. I will definitely be reviewing that one because I love Will Ferrell. Even when he's terrible in films like Holmes and Watson, I still will watch it. Yeah, that was so bad. We went to see that at a Alamo Draft House, and it was my girlfriend's choice. Now, my girlfriend is not a big person into movies, so when she chooses a movie, I'm always excited to go. So because I want her to enjoy it, but halfway through, I looked at her and I was like, "You owe me so big for this." And she's like, "I know, I'm sorry." But it was really funny. So, but I've chosen some bad movies for her too. We went to see that Melissa McCarthy puppet movie, which was horrible. So yeah, you know,
that sucks.
It balances out. Anyway, all right, we're at 9:42. We should wrap up the show. Alex, please tell people where they can follow you and everything you got going on, young lady.
You can help me reach to 500 followers on Twitter.
Yes, please do follow Alex on Twitter.
Real, you know, because I'm such a lowly social person.
No one said that. I didn't say that.
I know. I'm also part of several, you know, channels and shows here on YouTube, on the YouTube universe. I am actively participate in a Call to Action podcast. So if you want to find out like what kind of content and stuff I do, definitely give us a check out over there. I'm involved with several shows over there I feel like every single day, emotionally every single day. But I'm going to be going live tonight at 9:30. So if you want to see this weird face, go hang out with us over there at 9:30 Central. But also, we're going to be debating, like you mentioned, some awesome Schmodown topics. And also, I co-host a show called Cinema Bias with Video Drew, aka Drew Grant herself, where we do some karaoke. But we really dive into a lot of our personal biases when it comes to movies. Like I said, there's so many movies I have not seen because of biases and, personal biases we have growing up that people tell us about. And as a result, I am not very worse when it comes to movies. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a competitor. I'm a manager. What can I say? So with that being said, definitely check us out over there on the Video Drew's channel as well, where we kind of chat a bunch of movies.
There you go. We got one last Streamlab that came through, and that was from Mike Shea. He says, "Hey, Alex, Team Action may have an army, but the Outlaw has an entire nation." Well, that's very kind of you, Alex.
Is it like the size of an island, like Guam? Is that it? It's like Guam, right? No, wait. It's probably it's a little bit smaller. It's probably like that.
Oh, it ain't smaller. That's for sure.
What is that island that's like shrinking because of the water? Because the water levels just keep getting higher, and it's like just so small, and as a result, the entire population just keeps leaving. And the president, his whole job is to just to go around the world and asking for help. It's not too. I can't remember what it's called. I guess it's just so small. What are you gonna do? But you guys try. I'm so excited to finally meet an Outlaw fan, an Outlaw Nation fan, maybe at a live event, but fingers crossed. I'm praying for you guys to be there.
I love it. So good. I'm praying for you to cross 500 followers on Twitter. Let's see.
I don't matter, man.
About Outlaw Nation, we are dropping a new, listen, Alex is right. The Action Army, and shout out to Ben Bateman, Andrew Guy. They have been fostering this Action Army for quite some time. They've built it up. They are a strong, vibrant force in the Schmodown, and Christian always recognizes them. He helped bridge the gap between me and them, and I'm always thankful that he did so. So many incredible people I've met in the Action Army who helped me launch this channel and helped me maintain this channel, and Alex being one of them, being a part of Mornings with the Outlaw. So I have nothing but love for the Action Army, and I've always enjoyed being on their shows, but I realized myself I have been remiss in spending more time with the Outlaw Nation. We have over 1,500 members in the Facebook group, and so I wanted to build it out more because I was caught up with Collider stuff and my podcast. I didn't have as much time to spend on building this up, so my focus has been building up the Outlaw Nation more and more, and one of those ways is the Patreon, doing 4 new shows just exclusively for patrons on the Outlaw Nation Patreon. You can go and subscribe up there. The first one drops today, Criterion Corner. I get into My Darling Clementine and talk about why it's one of the best Westerns ever. That'll come out later on, only for the patrons on my Patreon right up there, as I said. But also another show we're launching today, and it's going to be on the Outlaw Nation Facebook group, so go and subscribe to it. It is the Ultimate Schmodown Show. It is our entry into the Schmodown reaction field of shows, and we got a quick trailer for it now.
Ooh,
there it is. That's the actual graphic, and here's the.
Some groups have stars. Some groups have an army. This one has an entire nation. And now it's our turn.
Oh, that's fire, kid. That's fire. I love it.
I laughed out loud.
Good.
I did literally laugh out loud. It was great. It was like what was it? It's like we are a nation. It felt like one of those those movie trailers like from the early mid-90s.
Yeah.
In a world.
Right. Well, I'll be replacing that voiceover, but
it's great. No, I actually love it.
I appreciate Mike Shea doing it. It's very kind of him to do it. He is the producer of the show. He also runs the Outlaw Nation Facebook page, and we've got 3 great people involved in it: Colin Morris, John Barr, and Amrik Bagal, all hosting the show. And we are looking for a female co-host as well to be a part of it to round out our section of people. We had Jillian on board, but she chose to go with another. She went on a reaction show, and we wished her well, but we can't have someone who's on 2 reaction shows. That just wouldn't make sense. It's a conflict.
But also, she's literally like the den wife, considering.
I don't know what that means. Oh, the den wife. Yeah,
den wife.
What you're saying. Right.
Her husband is literally in the den.
He is. So Sean Sullivan is in the den. Yeah, and he's been licking his wounds since that lost. Yeah. But we are looking for we are looking for a female co-host. We prefer her to be obviously a person of color. So if you're interested in being part of the Outlaw Nation, the Ultimate Schmodown show on the Outlaw Nation Facebook group, which will eventually go onto a YouTube channel, go and email Deputy Mike Shea at gmail.com and he'll square you away. All right, that's it. Follow me at the Outlaw Nation down there below. Hit subscribe on this channel if you haven't yet. Hit the like button. I didn't even ask people to hit the like button or the thumbs up button at all. We had over 200 of y'all watching us, but just barely above 100 likes. So hit those like button. If you're watching us later, hit the like button. Also leave a comment below. The more comments you leave, it kind of elevates our status in the algorithm of YouTube. And follow me at the Rocha says right there, trying to get above 35,000 subscribers on Twitter and above 20,000 on Instagram. I'd appreciate it. And I think that's it. Much love to everybody. And get ready for the Ultimate Schmodown show. It's dropping later on today on the Outlaw Nation Facebook group. So go and subscribe to that Facebook group and you'll get a chance to watch that show today. Take care, everybody. Thanks to Alex Shashek once again. And we'll see you Monday morning for another brand new episode of Mornings with the Outlaw here on the Outlaw Nation channel. Take care and have a great weekend.